5 years ago, I caught my husband and my best friend in bed together. 5 years later, my best friend personally handed me her wedding invitation. Grace, thank you for letting us be. Marcus's company is about to go public now. I can't even imagine how happy my life will be marrying him. I smiled and took the wedding invitation. After all, if he hadn't cheated, I probably wouldn't have become the secret wife of Harbor City's richest man. Alright, I'll be there. I'll give you a grand gift then. Grace, wait a minute. As I was about to leave, Scarlett suddenly grabbed me. She shook the peach-tone tote bag in her hand. Take this bag. You've been carrying yours for years, the edges are worn. I lowered my gaze, scanning the bag on my shoulder. It was last year's fall, with only 30 released worldwide. My husband had someone track it down for 3 months to get it. Scarlett shoved the bag into my arms. I bought too many last month, they'd just collect dust at home. Don't carry these obvious high-end knockoffs anymore, they're so tacky. I hung her bag over my arm, my fingertips gently twirling the strap. Thanks, I'll send you money electronically later. Send money? What for? Scarlett said with a playful chiding tone, we used to be best friends. Asking for money for a bag is like treating me as an outsider. I didn't respond, just smiled. Just then, an engine sound came from the street corner, and a black Maybach pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Marcus's face. It's late. Scarlett and I will drive you home. I took half a step back, avoiding his gaze. No need. My place isn't far, it's just 2 subway stops. Marcus's tone carried a hint of imperceptible superiority. Grace, I know you've had it rough these past few years. Now that Scarlett and I are doing well, we want to make it up to you. Then opened the car door and grabbed my arm. Grace, why are you still so stubborn? It's been 5 years since what happened. Are you still holding a grudge? You need to remember, we used to be the best of friends. Get in the car quickly. We can chat about old times on the way. Honestly, I really miss those days we spent together. Seeing the unconcealed smugness in Scarlett's eyes, I suddenly smiled. Alright. Then I opened the car door and got in. Sitting in Marcus's car, my thoughts drifted back to 5 years ago. Back then, Scarlett said her rental apartment lease was up, and the landlord was rushing her to move out before she found a new place. Without a second thought, I tidied up the guest room at home. Scarlett hugged me, crying. Grace, you really are the best friend I'll ever have. Thinking back now, I wonder how much of those tears were real and how much was fake. I can no longer tell. Later, I came back early from a business trip, planning to surprise them. But when I opened the door, I was met with gasps that sent shivers down my spine. Scarlett, what is the meaning of this? Scarlett, flustered, replied through tears, Grace, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. Marcus said he liked me, and I couldn't resist. Marcus, however, spoke up, his voice as cold as ice. I was the one who initiated it, it has nothing to do with Scarlett. I spun around to face him, my voice trembling uncontrollably. Marcus, we've been together for 3 years. I poured my heart and soul into our relationship, and this is how you treat me? He looked up, a hint of impatience in his eyes. Feelings change. I'm in love with Scarlett now. Grace, don't be so unreasonable. This house is mine, and you were mine. And you're calling me unreasonable? Marcus stood up, walked over to me, and looked down at me condescendingly. You bought the house, but love isn't a transaction. We weren't married yet. I have the right to choose someone I love more. So, let's break up. Meanwhile, Scarlett cried as she spoke, Grace, if you're really angry, hit me. I won't fight back. Her fragile, innocent act made me look even more like a hysterical shrew. Ultimately, I agreed to the breakup, tears in my eyes. I thought the humiliation that day was the limit. But I never imagined worse was yet to come. The next morning, the college alumni group chat exploded. Someone posted a photo of me and a male client discussing work at a restaurant. The angle was deceptive, making it look like we were passionately kissing. Immediately after, Scarlett sent a message. Everyone, please stop scolding Grace. She might have just been confused for a moment. Marcus is very upset right now, and I'll stay by his side. I stared at the screen then, my fingers numb and cold, unable to even type. I wanted to explain, but as soon as I sent one line, I was drowned in a torrent of curses. Grace, have some shame. Marcus was so good to you, and you cheated? I used to think you were innocent, but I never imagined you were so promiscuous. In the end, I left the group and deleted all my classmates' contact information. I thought this would allow me to escape the malice. But I forgot, I still had my family. My parents rushed over by train overnight. Grace, Marcus is such a good boy, why didn't you appreciate him? And my father, who had never hit me since I was little, slapped me that day. Grace, I raised you for nothing. How can a girl be so shameless? On the way home, they both talked about investments and luxury goods. I leaned back in the seat, not responding to anything, until looked into the rearview mirror, forcing an apologetic smile onto her face. Grace, look at me. Once I start talking about these things, I can't stop. You probably don't get involved in financial investments, do you? You must not understand. I'm so sorry for leaving you out. I looked up into the rearview mirror, meeting Scarlett's gaze, and simply smiled faintly. It's fine, just keep chatting, I don't mind. About 20 minutes later, we stopped in front of Summit Estates. This was Harbor City's most exclusive villa C. Immunity, where each villa was worth at least hundreds of millions. Grace, you live here? Marcus immediately frowned, his eyes filled with suspicion. I didn't explain, just unbuckled my seatbelt and got out of the car. However, Scarlett immediately pushed open the car door and grabbed my hand. Grace, are you working as a housekeeper here? The rich people here are cunning and know how to have fun. Don't let yourself be exploited as the other woman for a bit of money. If your reputation is ruined, you'll never be able to hold your head up again. Seeing the unconcealed malice in her eyes, I gently pulled my hand away from hers. I understand. Thank you for the reminder. Marcus also got out of the car, pulled a bank card from his inside jacket pocket, and handed it to me. Grace, there are $100,000 on this card. I admit I went a bit too far with what happened back then. But I had no choice. I loved Scarlett, and I could only force you to leave that way. Take this money, it's my compensation to you. Don't do anything foolish for a bit of cash. Scarlett nodded repeatedly. That's right, Grace, let bygones be bygones. Don't hold a grudge anymore. If you don't mind, I can still consider you my best friend. She stared at me, certain I would gratefully accept the card with tears in my eyes. And so, I indulged them once more. Thank you for your kindness. And I wish you both a happy marriage and a long life together in advance. On the day of the wedding, I was tying the belt of my evening gown when a pair of warm hands reached around me from behind, gently pulling me into an embrace. William rested his chin on the crown of my head, his voice still heavy with sleep. Don't let them get to you when you're there today. I'll come find you as soon as my afternoon meeting finishes. I turned around, seeing the seriousness in his eyes, and raised a hand to smooth the wrinkle between his brows. Understood. I'm leaving now. I'll wait for you ton. Aight. William leaned down and kissed my forehead. When the car stopped at the hotel entrance, it was already swarming with guests. Red arches and fresh flowers decorated the venue, making it exceptionally festive. I followed the waiter to a round table in the corner, where 5 or 6 people were already seated. They were all old college friends. As expected, they were all surprised to see me. Grace? How do you still have the nerve to show up? Haven't you caused enough embarrassment with what happened back then? Exactly. Marcus is about to become the chairman of a listed company. You're not trying to shamelessly cling to him at the wedding, are you? The malice in their words was unconcealed. I didn't respond, just pulled out a chair, sat down, and took a small sip from the water glass on the table. Just then, Marcus, dressed in a custom suit, walked over with Scarlett and interrupted them. What's past is past, let's not bring it up anymore. I've long since forgiven Grace. We're all old college friends, don't be so aggressive. His tone was magnanimous, as if he genuinely bore no grudges. Scarlett, meanwhile, immediately linked her arm through mine, her face adorned with an affectionate smile. Grace and I used to be best friends, and even if there were misunderstandings between us, they're all cleared up now. We'll still be good friends in the future, everyone. Please stop criticizing her. She gripped my hand, her hold a bit tight, yet her face still held a gentle smile. Grace, don't take it to heart. They just speak bluntly, there's no malice. Oh, right, Grace, I know life isn't easy for you now, and working as a housekeeper must be tough. After saying this, she turned to another old college friend, her tone deliberately enthusiastic. Jason, didn't you open a housekeeping company? If there are any suitable housekeeping jobs in the future, please give Grace some extra assignments and look out for an old college friend. Jason nodded immediately, but the sarcasm in his eyes became even more apparent. That's great, Grace. Housekeeping jobs really suit you. Next time there's a good employer, I'll recommend you first thing. I was just about to speak. Suddenly, a clear voice rang out behind me. Mommy. Everyone's attention was instantly drawn to it. Not far away, a 3.5-year-old child, dressed in a small suit, happily ran towards me. Mommy, why didn't you wait for me? Aunt said there's yummy cake here, and I want to eat it with Mommy. I bent down, hugged my son, and gently stroked his head. Mommy didn't mean to not wait for you. I wanted you to sleep a little longer. At that moment, Marcus's smile suddenly froze. Grace, you're married? My son's laughter still echoed, but the silence at the table seemed to solidify. It wasn't until Scarlett stared at the child in my arms that she spoke, utterly incredulous. Grace, this child, how old is he? Could it be that you were already pregnant before Marcus and I got together? As soon as she said that, the people at the table instantly erupted. That's right, Grace, this child looks over 3 years old. If you do the math, he really could be Marcus's. Did you deliberately hide your pregnancy back then, and now you're trying to use the child to snatch Marcus back? How scheming. After all these years, you still won't let go, and you're using a child as leverage? They seemed to have already decided it was Marcus's child. I ignored their whispers. I simply looked down at my son in my arms, my voice gentle. Son, why hasn't Daddy come in yet? My son wrapped his arms around my neck. Daddy's outside on the phone. He'll be right in. I smiled and tapped his little nose. Okay, then let's wait for Daddy to come in and eat cake together, alright? My son immediately nodded, happily clapping his little hands. Yay, yay. I want strawberry cake. Marcus kept staring at my son's face, his expression growing increasingly complex. Finally, he leaned 2 steps closer, his voice carrying a hint of imperceptible tremor. This child's eyes, they look a lot like mine. Grace, tell me honestly, this child isn't mine, is he? Did you never truly get over me back then? Were you already pregnant when we broke up, but deliberately hid it from me? The old college friends gasped again. Is it really Marcus's child? Grace, you're so good at hiding things, to have kept this secret for so many years. Exactly. What exactly do you intend to do, bringing a child to the wedding now? Scarlett's face turned grim. She clutched Marcus's arm, her voice full of grievance. Marcus, this isn't true, is it? You never mentioned anything like this before we got married. Seeing that I didn't speak, Marcus became even more agitated. Grace, don't play dumb. How could you keep something like this from me? This is my child, I have a right to know. Then, he suddenly remembered something. That's right. You said you'd give Scarlett and me a grand gift. Is this child the grand gift you were talking about? You deliberately brought him to our wedding to humiliate me, to ruin our ceremony. Grace, you're so malicious. I forgave you for what happened back then, why won't you let me go? Scarlett also started crying beside him. Grace, I know you're angry, but you can't get revenge on us like this. Marcus and I are about to get married. How are Marcus and I supposed to live our lives after you do this? My son was scared by their behavior and tightly clung to my neck. Mommy, they're so mean. I gently patted my son's back, then looked up at Marcus, my tone composed. Marcus, you're overthinking it. This child has absolutely nothing to do with you. Besides, my husband will be here any minute. Grace, you wouldn't have deliberately rented a husband just to save face, would you? Could the man you cheated with back then be your husband now? Definitely. No one ever saw that man back then. He's probably an older man, and you only married him for money. But how much money could an older man who lets her work as a housekeeper have? He's probably just an average rich guy, incomparable to Marcus. Upon hearing I had a husband, these old college friends started to mock me again. Scarlett, with reddened eyes, linked her arm through mine again. Clearly, as long as it wasn't Marcus's child, there was no threat to her. She once again feigned kindness. Grace, who exactly is your husband? How's life treating you? If things aren't going well, you absolutely must tell us. Marcus and I will definitely help you. Watching her hypocritical act, I gently withdrew my hand and smiled. I appreciate your kindness. Then, Marcus pulled out his checkbook from his inside jacket pocket. He quickly wrote a check and handed it to me. Grace, this check is for 500,000. I know working as a housekeeper isn't easy for you now. This money might not be much, but it can help you and your child live a good life. The old college friends at the table immediately began praising Marcus. Marcus, you're too kind. After all these years, you're still looking out for Grace. Exactly. Anyone else would have cut ties with her long ago. Only is so magnanimous. Scarlett, you're so lucky to marry such a good man. Scarlett smiled as she linked arms with Marcus. The unease on her face had long since vanished. Of course. The man I love is the best in the whole world. Just then, the wedding officiant walked over, her tone anxious. Mr. Marcus, the scheduled ceremony time is almost here. It's time to go on stage for the ceremony. Marcus, however, frowned. Why isn't Mr. William here yet? The ceremony can't start until Mr. William arrives. Soon, upon hearing Mr. William, everyone was once again astonished. Mr. William? You mean William, Harbor City's richest man? Marcus, you're incredible. You actually managed to invite Mr. William to your wedding. Oh my God. William. He's a truly influential figure, someone countless people can only dream of meeting, and he's actually coming to Marcus's wedding. The old college friends crowded around, their voices full of flattery and envy. Scarlett happily explained to everyone, it's nothing really. Marcus's company is just preparing to go public soon, and Mr. William is our company's main investor. So, Mr. William specifically made time to attend this wedding. However, 10 minutes past the scheduled ceremony time, William still hadn't arrived. The wedding officiant came to urge them a third time, but Marcus still insisted on waiting. At the same time, the old college friends at the table also spoke up. Grace, is your husband coming or not? This is Marcus's wedding, how dare he be late? That's so disrespectful. I bet he's not even rich at all. He's just deliberately hiding and not daring to show up, afraid of being exposed. I think she just made him up on the spot. What kind of good man would marry a woman who works as a housekeeper for others? I gently patted my son's head. Leo, go to the entrance and call for Daddy. My son immediately nodded and slid out of my arms. At the same time, the ballroom doors opened. William walked in, dressed in a black suit. He instantly captivated everyone's attention. Is that William? He's even more handsome than in the business magazines. He's so young. To become Harbor City's richest man at such a young age, truly accomplished. If I could marry Mr. William, I'd never have to worry about anything in life. I'd be ecstatic. Marcus and Scarlett saw William and immediately hurried over to greet him. Marcus immediately put on a fawning smile, his tone respectful. Mr. William, you're finally here. If you hadn't arrived soon, I would have sent someone to pick you up. Scarlett's eyes were also full of flattery. Mr. William, we are truly honored that you could attend Marcus's and my wedding. Please, have a seat. We've specially reserved the best spot for you. Marcus immediately gestured for Hi. M to come in, his tone even more respectful. Mr. William, this way please. William nodded slightly, said nothing, and followed Marcus towards the main table. Scarlett walked beside them, relishing the pride of being seen with the richest man. However, just as they were about to reach the main table, William suddenly stopped. Seeing this, Marcus's heart clenched. Mr. William, is something wrong? Are you not satisfied with this seat? If not, we'll change it immediately. William ignored Marcus and Scarlett, continuing to scan the ballroom. Where are my wife and child? As soon as William spoke, everyone was stunned. For a moment, they couldn't believe their ears. What did Mr. William just say? He has a wife and child? How is that possible? I've never heard any news of Mr. William getting married. Isn't Mr. William very particular about his partner? Many heiresses pursued him, but he turned them all down. How could he suddenly have a wife and child? Marcus stood frozen for a long time before he finally reacted. Mr. William, you have a wife and child? When I contacted your assistant earlier to confirm guest information, I didn't receive any notification that you would have family attending. William, however, gave him a faint glance, his tone calm. I didn't ask my assistant to notify anyone. It's because my wife contacted you first about attending this wedding. Your wife? Marcus's pupils suddenly constricted. Mr. William, do you mean, your wife is also here? And she was the one who contacted us first? His mind quickly scrolled through the people he had recently contacted. Aside from Grace, it seemed no other woman had proactively contacted him, but as soon as the thought emerged, he quickly extinguished it. How could that be? Daddy? At that moment, my son had already rushed towards William. The coldness on William's face instantly vanished, replaced by profound indulgence. Everyone's gaze followed William's, all falling uniformly on my son. Oh my goodness! That child actually called Mr. William Daddy? Could William's wife be that woman? Wasn't she here as a housekeeper? This is just incredible. How could Mr. William marry a woman like her? Marcus and Scarlett also looked at me, their eyes wide with shock. Just then, Jason suddenly stood up and clapped a hand over my son's mouth. Kiddo, don't just shout nonsense. What's Mr. William's status? Is he someone you can just call daddy willy-nilly? After saying that, he turned to me and reprimanded, Grace, how do you raise your child? He has no manners whatsoever. How could you let your child just call anyone daddy? Are you really that desperate to latch on to Mr. William? Unfortunately, no sooner had he finished speaking than William's bodyguards immediately pinned him to the table. Dare to lay a hand on the young master? Are you tired of living? At the same time, William picked up my son in front of everyone. Son, I'm sorry daddy's late. I made you and mommy wait for a long time. My son wrapped his arms around William's neck and smiled happily. Daddy's not late. Mommy said Daddy was late because of an urgent matter. William lowered his head and gently brushed the stray hairs from my cheek. I'm sorry you were put through this. The entire hall fell silent once more. Marcus, after a long pause, finally managed to squeeze out a sentence. Mr. William, your wife, is she Grace? William slowly raised his head and looked at Marcus. Who else? Instantly, Marcus looked as if all the strength had been drained from him. His face was ashen, like paper. After a while, he finally reacted, quickly forcing out a fawning smile. Mr. William. It was my mistaken judgment, I didn't recognize Mrs. William. Please don't be offended. The VIP section is still empty. I'll have someone move the seats over immediately. You, Mrs. William, and the young master will be more comfortable there. At this moment, his posture was extremely humble. William, however, raised a hand to interrupt him. No need to trouble yourself. Wherever my wife sits, that's where I'll sit. William was always fiercely protective of his own. His current calm was merely a restraint of his emotions. Marcus froze in place, his smile uglier than a grimace. Yes, I was inconsiderate. As long as you're satisfied, Mr. William. The wedding officiant, likely receiving a signal from Marcus, quickly went on stage to salvage the situation. Music began, and the spotlight shone on Scarlett at the end of the aisle. But the atmosphere in the hall was unusually quiet. Most of the guests had no interest in watching the newlyweds, their gazes occasionally drifting our way. Even their whispers were hushed, fearing they might disturb William. The old college friends were even more on pins and needles. Jason sat with his hands on his lap, not daring to lift his head for a moment. The ceremony proceeded quickly. Rings were exchanged, vows were made. Scarlett tried hard to maintain a smile on her face, but the panic in her eyes was impossible to hide. Marcus was even more distracted, almost mispronouncing words during his vows. Finally, it was time for toasting. Marcus and Scarlett, holding their wine glasses, were the first to approach William. Marcus's hands were trembling. Mr. William, Mrs. William, thank you for attending Marcus's and my wedding. We toast this drink to you both, wishing you eternal happiness. William, however, remained still. Mr. Marcus, there's something I've always been curious about and would like to ask you. Marcus's heart clenched. He quickly put down his glass, his tone respectful. Please ask, Mr. William. Whatever I know, I will answer truthfully. William gently tapped the table with his fingertips, his gaze falling on me. When you broke up with my wife back then, did you claim she betrayed you? The question hit like a bombshell. Everyone gasped in collective shock. Marcus's face instantly went even paler. Scarlett, naturally pawnee, quickly tugged Marcus's arm and whispered, Mr. William, what happened back then is all in the past. I'm asking Mr. Marcus. William gave her a cold glance, and Scarlett's words instantly caught in her throat. She dared not utter another sound. Marcus swallowed hard, cold sweat breaking out on his forehead, his voice filled with frantic excuses. Mr. William, it's all in the past, no need to bring it up again. It was my fault for not cherishing her back then, my problem, it had nothing to do with Mrs. William. He dared not admit to the lie from back then, much less speak ill of me in front of William. He could only shoulder all the blame himself. William leaned forward slightly, a hint of mockery in his tone. Then would you suggest that I, William, picked up your discarded trash? Every word from William made Marcus feel on pins and needles. No. Absolutely not. Marcus was so terrified he nearly lost his mind, wishing he could kneel before William right then and there. Mr. William, you've misunderstood. I wasn't worthy of Mrs. William. I was blind back then, which is why I broke up with Mrs. William. Mrs. William is so exceptional, it's your good fortune to have married her. I just wasn't destined for it. Mr. William, you are so magnanimous, please don't hold it against me. It was my loose tongue, my nonsense. Please don't take it to heart. William looked at his disheveled appearance, his eyes devoid of emotion. His tone was flat, yet filled with utter intimidation. You're right, you truly aren't worthy of her. My standards, William, have always been very high. To be my wife, she is definitely no ordinary woman. You will never in this lifetime be worthy of understanding her goodness. Marcus and Scarlett nodded frantically. Yes, yes, yes. Mr. William is right. Mrs. William is truly exceptional. We all understand, we all understand. Scarlett's eyes were bloodshot, but she dared not shed tears, only forcing out a smile uglier than a grimace. Suppressing her grievance, Mrs. William, everything that happened back then was my fault, I was foolish, please don't hold it against me. Looking at them in their current state, my heart felt not a single ripple. William raised his hand, signaling Marcus not to bow anymore, his tone returning to its previous calmness. All right, you've offered your toast, and I've asked what I wanted to ask. Marcus and Scarlett immediately breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the matter was over, and quickly turned to leave. But just as they turned, William's voice resounded again, carrying a hint of deeper meaning. Mr. Marcus, wait. Marcus slowly turned around, his face full of trepidation. Mr. William, do you have any other instructions? William's fingertips rubbed the edge of his wine glass, his eyes deep, making his thoughts unreadable. A few seconds later, he slowly spoke. Do you know why I invested in your company? Marcus stared at William, his lips trembling, unable to speak, only shaking his head vigorously. He had always thought William invested because he valued his abilities, never considering there might be other reasons behind it. At that moment, William's eyes were like chipped ice, making Marcus's heart race with panic, even his breath feeling strained. William's lips curled into a faint curve, utterly devoid of warmth. Then, he reached out and took my hand. I invested in you not because you're capable, and certainly not because your company has potential, but simply for my wife. For? Marcus's voice trembled with disbelief. What does this have to do with her? Our company, your company? William interrupted him. Marcus, you've probably long forgotten who founded this company with you in the first place. He turned to look at me, his eyes instantly softening, his thumb gently caressing my fingertips. My wife has always dreamed of becoming a world-class designer, of owning her own design company. Back then, she started that business with you, investing all her savings and all her time. But back then, you not only fabricated lies about her betraying you, you also kicked her out of the company and even froze all the shares under her name. Did you think by doing that, you could claim all her hard work as your own? He paused, the chill in his voice deepening. When I first met her, she had just joined my company as a design assistant. She had just been heartbroken by you, yet she still put all her energy into her work. That was the winter, half a year after the breakup. To rush a design proposal for an important client, I had pulled 3 all-nighters in a row. As I was staring at the computer screen, making final edits, my vision suddenly went black. When I woke up again, I was in a hospital bed. Standing by the bed was William, a man I had only seen once before at the company's annual meeting. Later I found out that he had gone to the company late that night and happened to find me collapsed. He was the one who carried me to the hospital and even covered all my medical expenses. At this point, William's voice softened slightly, carrying clear heartfelt sorrow. Later, I slowly learned everything that had happened to her. It turns out, some people can be so utterly worse than an animal. Marcus's voice was filled with despair. So you invested in my company just to help her take it back? He finally understood that he had been nothing more than a pawn on William's chessboard from the very beginning. Not take back, but retrieve. William corrected him, his tone firm. This company was originally half hers. Now, it's simply returning to its rightful owner. Marcus knew that William was telling the truth. In his pursuit of going public, he had actually long lost control of the company. From today onwards, the legal representative and CEO of your company will be replaced by my wife. You and Scarlett, you despicable couple, can get out now. William stared at Marcus, speaking coldly. No. Mr. William, please don't do this. Finally, Marcus fell to his knees. This company is my life's work, you can't take it away. I know I was wrong, and I'll never dare to do it again. Please, just let me go. Scarlett also quickly knelt down, clutching Marcus's arm and weeping. Mr. William, Mrs. William, we know we were wrong. What happened back then was our fault. We apologize to you both and want to make amends. William looked at their abject appearance, his voice suddenly rising. Let you go? When you kicked her out of the company and trampled on her dreams back then, why didn't you think about letting her go? She considered you the love of her life and Scarlett her best friend, but what about you two? How did you treat her? William's chest heaved violently, clearly in a true rage. You conspired to betray her, fabricated lies to slander her, making everyone misunderstand her, even her own family didn't trust her. When she was at her lowest, what were you doing? You were enjoying the fruits of her hard work and planning your future together. And now you're asking me to let you go? Marcus, are you worthy of that? Marcus continued to kowtow on the ground, begging for mercy, but suddenly straightened up, her tears drying up instantly, replaced by a twisted hatred. Grace, don't think you're hot stuff just because William is protecting you. You're nothing but a slut. Back then, it was clearly you who was seducing other men and cheated on Marcus. Mr. William, don't be fooled by her facade. She just wants to use you to get back at us. However, the words had barely left her lips. Smack! A sharp crack echoed throughout the entire banquet hall. William had moved there before anyone knew it. Scarlett's head snapped to the side from the force of the blow, a trickle of blood seeping from the corner of her mouth. Cursing my wife? William's voice was cold as ice, every word loaded with an oppressive weight. Scarlett clutched her face, tears welling up in her eyes. Ein. Mr. William. I was telling the truth, it was Grace who. William cut her off, turning his gaze to Marcus, who was still kneeling on the floor. Marcus, you abandoned my wife for this lying piece of trash? For her, you crushed my wife's dreams and destroyed her reputation. Do you think it was worth it now? Marcus looked at Scarlett, then remembered his own current predicament, and his suppressed rage finally erupted. He scrambled to his feet, grabbed Scarlett by her hair, and slapped her too. The blow was even harder than William's. It's all you. It's all because of you. Marcus's voice was filled with frantic hatred. If you hadn't worn her nightgown to seduce me back then, if you hadn't goaded me into fabricating those lies about her cheating, how would I have ended up like this? The company's gone, my reputation's ruined, it's all your fault. Scarlett fell to the ground from the impact, another red mark appearing on her face. She lost it too, scrambling up and immediately wrestling Marcus. Marcus, you heartless bastard. You were the one who said you loved me first. Now that everything's gone wrong, you're blaming me? You're nothing but a coward. They tore at each other's clothes, their mouths spewing unspeakable curses. The expensive suit was ripped, the elegant wedding gown covered in stains. The joyous wedding scene instantly devolved into a farce. Guests quickly backed away, pulling out their phones to snap pictures and record videos as a chorus of whispers and murmurs erupted. I looked at the chaotic scene before me, feeling nothing but profound irony, without even a shred of interest in watching the spectacle. I tugged at William's sleeve, saying in a calm voice, "Let's go." William nodded, put his arm around me, shielding me behind him, and navigated through the surging crowd, carrying Leo towards the exit. The car drove smoothly into the night, and Leo soon fell asleep in William's arms. William turned to look at me, his fingertips gently brushing my cheek. "I'm sorry you had to go through all that today." I shook my head. "No, not at all. Seeing them like that, I actually feel a sense of relief." Back home, William first carried Leo back to his room, then returned, taking my hand and leading me into the bathroom. "I ran you a warm bath. Take a good soak and relax." He adjusted the water temperature for me and then got out my usual body wash, his movements natural and tender. The bathroom filled with steam, and William's fingers ran through my hair, gently massaging my scalp. "It's all over now. Let's wash away all the bad memories of the past." I leaned against him, feeling the warm water and the warmth of his palm, and my eyes suddenly welled up. All the grievances and pain of so many years finally found their release in that moment. Later, I officially took over Marcus's company. I fired the old employees who had helped Marcus cook the books and ostracized me, and I rebuilt the team. I shifted the company's main business back to the design field I had originally loved. William never interfered with my work, but when I faced difficulties, he would quietly help me find resources and conduct analysis. In less than a year, the company turned losses into profits and won several international design awards. My dream of becoming a top global designer was drawing closer. After leaving the company, Marcus became utterly destitute. He looked for jobs everywhere, but his tarnished reputation meant no one was willing to hire him. The next time I heard about him was on the TV news. Marcus was found dead in his rental apartment, the murderer was Scarlett. Ultimately, Scarlett was sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional homicide. In the evening, William came home from work, and Leo rushed to hug his legs. I stood by the door, watching father and son, and an involuntary gentle smile curved my lips. The days ahead would be filled with nothing but sunshine and happiness. There would be no more shadows. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.